Welcome back to the Norse Code. I'm Mike Lund. It's time to get to Viking athletics news. Coming soon is one of the biggest, most anticipated events of the year at Portland State and for Portland State athletics. Wine and Roses presented by Evergreen Gave Cal and the Burns Brothers. Sponsorships and tickets are still available. It takes place on Friday, May 29th at the Portland Art Museum. This is the best opportunity to meet Viking coaches, student athletes, and hear athletics director Mark Roundtree talk about an exciting new era for Portland State athletics. Funds generated from Wine and Roses support athletic scholarships. Visit govikes.com for more information. Now we move on to our teams this week and what they've been doing. We'll start with track and field. And the Viking track and field teams were busy last week competing at 3 different meets among the OSU High Performance Meet, the Mount Hood Track Festival, and the Peyton Jordan Invitational. Sophomore Jenna Settle and junior Rockwell Tufte set records for the Vikings at OSU. Settle blew away the field with a meet record in the 100 meters with 11.7 seconds, while Tufte broke his own school record in the men's high jump with 6 feet 10 1/4 inches. Additionally, the Vikings added 4 event wins at the OSU High Performance Meet, including a 1-2 finish by Bailey Sims and Tamara Ritchie in the women's long jump. Seniors Jasmine Ratcliffe and Jasmine Woods won the 100-meter hurdles and the 200 meters respectively. Meanwhile, senior Camila Mayfield cracked 17 minutes in the 5,000 meters at the Peyton Jordan Invitational. It's the second straight meet in which she has accomplished that feat. Viking golfer Aram Choi begins play at the NCAA West Regional on Thursday in Utah. Choi is a 2-time Big Sky champion, a 3-time Big Sky Player of the Year, and holds Portland State records for scoring in a round, a tournament, a season, and a career. If she plays well this week, Choi will have a chance to be the first Viking in history to reach the NCAA National Championship Tournament. That would be May 19 through 22 at the Concession Club in Bradenton, Florida. The Big Sky Conference announced its all-conference teams last Friday, with the Vikings receiving honors on both the men's and women's sides. Sophomore Tracy Dong made the All-Big Sky second team on the women's side, while senior Stuart Tierney and sophomore Ethan Lopez were each named honorable mention for the men. Dong's honor marks just the 3rd second-team honor in the history of the Vikings women's program, while Tierney and Lopez are the first Viking men's teammates to earn honors in the same season since 2010. The Portland State men's basketball team has signed another player for the 2015-16 season. Kyrie Holloway, a 6'2" guard from Phoenix, Arizona, was a junior college All-American last year for Mesa Community College. He averaged 17.2 points and 4.8 assists per game and led the nation by making an astounding 93% of his free throws. Holloway is the 5th student athlete to sign for head coach Tyler Geving for the 2015-16 season, with at least one more expected later this spring. New women's basketball coach Lynn Kennedy has signed a pair of newcomers to his Viking program. They include Michaela Kay, a point guard from Spokane's Lewis and Clark High School, and Ashley Bolston, a highly rated 6'2" wing from South Medford High School, who has played 1 season at Washington State. Look for more news out of the women's basketball program in the coming weeks. The softball team completed its 2015 season over the weekend in Hillsboro. The Vikings showed significant improvement by doubling their overall and conference win totals from 2014. Brittany Hendrickson finished her career at PSU with an amazing season. She had a .393 batting average, 8 home runs, and 45 runs batted in. She was named first team All-Big Sky Conference this week. Aubrey Nitcham batted .314 this season with 5 home runs and 26 RBIs, earning second team All-Big Sky. 5 other Vikings received honorable mention. After finishing in second place in the Big Sky last season, the Viking women's soccer team has just completed its spring practice season. When we come back, we will talk with head women's soccer coach Laura Schott about her team and what Viking fans have to look forward to next season. We're here with head women's soccer coach Laura Schott, and the Viking women's soccer team has just completed its spring season, so we're going to find out just how that went. And Laura, we're going to start first with the emphasis of the spring. We hear from you was on possession of the ball, and talk to us about what you saw in that area, the progress your team made.
Well, in the fall, I saw us chasing too much. We did not have the ball enough. So in the spring, we worked on keeping it, and instead of using our energy to chase, we want to use our energy to possess the ball and then go forward. So the spring, we made big strides in possession, and it looked very good. It's very promising for the fall.
Okay, and talk about your midfield group. You have a very experienced group coming back, and how they're going to lead the team this fall, and some of those individual players.
We have emerging leadership on the team right now. Some of those players will be midfielders, some of those players will be in other positions. We do have a lot of returning midfielders, one being Emma Cooney, who's a senior, who's been a leader for us in the past, but she made some big strides this spring in possessing the ball, but also playing the final pass, looking for assists. So she's doing very well. And really, I could go through a lot of our midfield right now, player by player, and talk about the strengths that they have and what they've done for us this spring. The product this fall will be fun to watch, and I'm looking forward to it. But going through all of them, I'm not sure we have time for that.
Okay, and well, let's talk about the back line now. I know you've lost your starting goalkeeper and 3 of the 4 starters on the back line, but the spring is what this is all about, is finding the people to replace those individuals. So talk about the progress made there.
We had some players that stepped up very big for us this spring, and will be challenging for starting positions in the fall, as we have a very good group of defenders coming in that will join us in the fall of 2015. So they'll still be fighting for positions, but a couple players to note. Kristen Moyer returned for us, who didn't play at all last fall. She's currently a sophomore, and she redshirted last year with an injury. We're really happy to have her back. Another player that did excellent for us in the back line was Katie Forsey, and she is a midfielder, but we moved her back there because we don't have all of our backs in yet, and she did an excellent job.
Okay, and talk about when you lose a number of starters, an important thing you need to reestablish is leadership. You mentioned that word already. Talk about leadership on your team, and is that something you really look to develop in the spring?
Absolutely. We've been looking for players to step in and be both leaders by example and vocal leaders, and we've had players do both. It's going to be emerging through the fall because we do have a very young team, but there were some very promising prospects in this last spring season.
Okay, and your soccer program has been at the top of the Big Sky for a number of years. You've been right there. You've gotten to the tournament. What is the next step you feel you need to make to win that Big Sky tournament and get to the NCAA tournament?
We need to have more of an edge. We need to get to those games and have a little bit more bite. Our leadership does need to get a little bit better, although we have had very good leaders in the past. We have different personalities on our team now, and we're looking to use those both in our game plan of possession and going forward when it's appropriate. And we're hoping that those leaders help us to do well with that game plan in the fall. All signs are positive right now. I really think it's going to go very well for that group of players.
Okay, last question, and this is, I know, a very important question. The Women's World Cup is coming up. Who do you like in the Women's World Cup?
Well, I always like the USA. So I'm going to be rooting for the USA. It's going to be Abby Wambach's last World Cup, and I wouldn't bet against her, and I wouldn't bet against Alex Morgan either. Other teams that are going to do well and vie for that, France is fun to watch. Germany and Japan will also do well. So it should be a very fun World Cup to watch, especially since it's right next door.
Okay. Well, the Women's World Cup is coming up this summer, but we're looking forward to Viking women's soccer in the fall. We thank Laura Schott for joining us today, and we thank you for watching the Norse Code.